सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। नीलाम्बुजश्यामलकोमलाङ्गं सीतासमारोपितवामभागं पाणौ महाचासायकचारुचापं नमामि रामं रघुवंशनाथम्। उद्भवस्थितिसंहार कारिणीं क्लेशहारिणीं सर्वश्रेयस्करीं सीतां नतोऽहं रामवल्लभाम्। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। Hari Om, salutations to all. Welcome to this session on meditation on Siya Ramji. Meditation, very popular nowadays. Everybody wants to meditate. And many of us, we think that directly we can attempt meditation. Puja, japa, all these are not required. We can directly do meditation. Because meditation is spiritual, puja, japa, etc. is supposed to be religious. So many wrong notions are there in our mind. We'll see how we can gain more and more clarity. So what is meditation? Meditation is a state of being. It is not a verb, it is a noun. So just like we are in the waking state right now, in that way, meditation is a state of being. The fourth state of consciousness is called meditation. Waking, dream, deep sleep. These are the three states that we generally go through. But that state which is the substratum of all these, because of which we know the waking, dream and deep sleep, that state of consciousness is called meditation. So it is not a practice to do. It is the state to be in, and it is always there. Because it is our true nature. So meditation is the effortless awareness of our true self, the constant awareness that I am that pure consciousness. That state where I'm in that awareness all the time is called meditation. And that state is Ram. Those of you who heard Pujya Swami Govind Dev Giriji, he said Omkar has three matras. Ram also has three matras. Omkar is A, U and Ma. Ram also is Ra, A and Ma. And the gap between the two Omkars is called Amatra Om. That is a silence. That is a fourth state. Ram indicates that fourth state. Omkar also indicates that fourth state actually. The three states are only to indicate that fourth one. Because three are what we go through. Through that we have to know what is the substratum of all the three. So that is a fourth state. When we know that fourth state, these three disappear. Don't worry suddenly that, oh God, waking will disappear, dream disappears, deep sleep disappears, then what will I be? Then will I never come back to this? Then all my people and all of that. Don't worry, none of that will happen. One will know that they are illusory, that is all. Otherwise, great masters we can't see in the world. if literally disappears for them, and you and I can't see them. But we have seen so many great masters. So It is that state where I am effortlessly aware of my true nature, which is pure consciousness, which is unborn, unchanging, undying. That state is called meditation. That state is Atma. And that's why when we say Atma Ram, it means that state of awareness. So when we say meditation on Siyaram, it's a colloquial expression. We cannot meditate on Siyaram. Meditation is Siyaram. That state is Siyaram. The practice that helps us to discover that state, that practice is called contemplation or nididhyasana. In the language of knowledge, it is called nididhyasana or contemplation. Single pointed thought flow towards the infinite consciousness, that is called nididhyasana. Advitiya Vastuni Sajatiya Vritti Pravaha. That is the definition given by Swami Sadananda in Vedanta Sar. Towards that infinite consciousness, which is non-dual, steady flow of thought, Sajatiya Vritti Pravaha. That is called contemplation. To help us to achieve that contemplation, we must have a certain preparation which we have to do. So the practice is called nididhyasana, the state is called meditation. In English, if we say contemplation is the practice, meditation is the state, nididhyasana is a practice, dhyan is the avastha. So we cannot do dhyan, we can be in dhyan. We cannot do meditation, we can be in that state of meditation. Now this is the highest meaning of meditation, where one comes to discover effortlessly one's own true self and abides in that. Like how today we are in this state of where we abide in this awareness that I am a human being, or I am a man, or I am a woman. It is complete awareness of that, and our choices are guided by that. So it does not conflict. Sometimes one thinks that, oh, if I meditate, then I can't do anything else. As a practice, when we learn to contemplate, that time we are in a withdrawn state, that time we don't do anything outside. But when we discover that state of meditation, then it is like being effortlessly aware that I am infinite consciousness and doing all our duties. Like an actor is aware that I am not this role, I am an actor. This role is just a temporary role, and the actor can switch between various roles because the actor knows effortlessly that I am the actor, I am not this role. In that same way, effortless awareness of this state that I am unborn, unchanging, undying makes us transact in the world with this awareness. So it is not in contradiction. And we will transact more effortlessly, joyfully, peacefully, because we abide in that. Today we are acting for joy, for happiness, for peace. Once we discover this state, we will act from joy, from peace, from bliss. And so this is called the goal of life also. The entire goal of evolution, in fact, is to discover this state. Where we have forgotten this, the ignorance of this state is what causes all sorrows to us. And hence, the highest vocation is nididhyasana, contemplation. The highest practice that one can do is to contemplate, where we learn to detach from who I am not and attach to who I am. So that requires a certain preparation. Now, Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda used to say that when I slip outside, I fall. But when I slip inside, I rise. To slip outside is not literally to slip outside. That also, if one slips, one falls. But to slip outside meaning when the mind becomes extroverted through the sense organs. And when we seek happiness from the world outside, we want position, power, something, some place we want to go to, so that we will become happy. That thought that happiness comes from outside is the fall. because we have forgotten our nature is bliss. Atma Ram is our true nature. Ram means to revel, and that state of pure bliss in which we revel and which is in the hearts of all is called Ram. And so when we get extrovert with this false notion, see, working outside by itself is not a problem, as we said earlier, but with the false notion that happiness comes from outside, or when I become something, then I will be more happy. When I get something, I will be more happy. That false notion is what creates all the difficulties. So Gurudev said, when we slip outside, we fall. But when we slip inside, we rise. Slip inside meaning withdraw our attention from the world outside to the body, from the body to the breath, breath to the mind, mind to the intellect, and beyond. What is beyond the intellect? Is that state of pure consciousness. So to be aware of that, the process that we engage in, colloquially we call that also as meditation, the practice of meditation. Technically it is called contemplation, nididhyasana, where we withdraw. So that is what we have to do, is systematically withdraw, step by step. Suddenly if we try to do something, it will not work. And even that withdrawal process itself is subtle. Some people say no need of any process, just be. And how to just be? The mind will immediately start wandering in few seconds, because one has not learned how to withdraw. Just be sounds very nice. Don't do anything, just be. Okay, just be. After some time the mind wants to know what to do, because the mind is habituated to doing something. It requires certain purity, certain subtlety to remain in that state of non-doership, where just be. With a strong sense of doership and ego, if we say just be, we are deluding ourselves. So we must learn the process of withdrawal. Antarmukha we have to become. Today we are Bahirmukha, extrovert. We have to become Antarmukha. And so that those steps are what we call as the preparation for Nididhyasan. And Nididhyasan finally leads to the avastha of Samadhi, and that is the state of realization finally. Now, this is the purpose for which we undertake this as spiritual seekers. In the world, there are various other reasons also why one wants to meditate today. Someone wants to do it because it will make the mind, it will make the body healthy, it will reduce the blood pressure, hypertension, cholesterol, acidity, a lot of benefits it has. Strengthens the immunity. Someone does it because one wants to overcome certain negative emotions, improve concentration, increase memory power. Now, some people do it because they want fulfillment of desires. They meditate on specific desire, and this is how, what is the visualization they will do. This is my goal. This is what I want to achieve. And they give more and more energy to it, so that law of attraction, what we continuously think about, we bring about. Thoughts become things. So one uses this power for achieving certain desires, attaining certain things in the world, becoming certain type of person. So one uses auto suggestions to inculcate certain attitudes, certain values. See, I'm not saying any of this is wrong. I'm saying these are the reasons why we may do any of this. We may follow this practice. And there are different people who have different needs. They will follow different objectives for why they are doing this. Each of us are at different level of evolution. We all need at appropriate level, appropriate things. And there's nothing wrong with that. So one does for any of these reasons to increase inner security, to feel more loved, to feel compassion, to experience that we are one. That is one more reason. And spiritual reason, as I said, to realize absolute self. So different levels are there, different approaches, different attitudes people have. So though the practice remains the same, the beauty of this sadhana is practice remains the same. Different steps which are there can give these different benefits depending on which step I am focusing on for what. So I will share with you the 10 steps. What are these 10 steps of Nididhyasan? Here they are. One should memorize these 10 steps. Because as I said, it's a process of withdrawal. We can't keep opening the eyes and saying, okay, what is the next step? Now this, now again do this, now what is the next step? Then the whole purpose is lost. Just memorize these 10 steps. First is preparation and posture, where one learns to sit sthiram sukham asanam, sit quietly in a place which is clean. Shuchau deshe pratisthapya. This is based on 6th chapter of the Gita. This is not, we have not created by ourselves. This is based on the scriptures only, but written in this form so that we all can understand. So preparation and posture. Sit in a comfortable posture, ensuring the head, neck and spine is in a straight line. Don't ask me, Swamiji, can we do horizontal meditation? No, we cannot do horizontal meditation. One will go to sleep. Our conditioning for years together has been, if we go horizontal, we sleep. In vertical itself, we go to sleep. What to talk of horizontal? And also important is that the energy has to travel up. Urdhva retas it has to become. So we need a erect spine and in a vertical position, not in a horizontal. Why are we human beings? Because we have a vertical spine. Animals have a horizontal spine. So for them, everything is at the same level. The head, the heart, the stomach, the reproductive organs. For us, it is not at the same level. For us, it is in a vertical way. Head is at the top, then the heart, then the stomach, and then the reproductive organs. So we have to live according to that. So sit erect. You may sit on a chair. If you are able to sit in Padmasan, great, or Ardha Padmasan, wonderful. If none of that is possible, simple, any Sukhasan, just a basic posture is enough. If you're sitting on a chair, place both the feet firmly on the ground. Sit erect. That's the posture. Preparation is the mind. In the Gita, Bhagavan says, Prashantatma vigatabhihi brahmachari vrate sthitaha manas sanyamya matchittaha yukta asita matparaha. The 5 things he says in that. Prashantatma, relatively make the mind quiet. That time there should not be any other thoughts to think about, anything immediate, urgent, pressing that I have to attend to. Choose such a time. Prashantatma, relatively quiet. That's why early morning or first, as soon as we wake up, we take bath and the first thing we do is dhyan, because the mind has not yet become extroverted. Prashantatma, vigatabihi, drop all fears. Oh, will I be able to meditate? Will my mind be able to focus? Will I go to sleep? Am I really made for this? Is it a waste of my time? Maybe I'm not ready. So many doubts come. Drop all fear. These are the best few moments, blessed moments, and Bhagwan's grace is with us. So learn the practice and follow that with faith. Prashantatma vigatabihi. Brahmachari vrate sthitaha. For this practice to succeed, one has to live in brahmacharya. Brahmacharya does not mean only absence of carnal pleasure. It means conservation of the vital energies of the body by moderate engagement in the world outside. No excessive talking, no excessive eating, no excessive sleeping, not going to any extremes in what is dharmic. What is adharmic, one has to just drop it completely. What is righteous, in that engagement, be moderate. Prashantatma vigatabihi brahmachari vrate sthitaha. Manas sanyamya matchittaha. Invoke devotion in the heart. So many people ask that question, Swamiji, my mind goes on wandering everywhere. How do I focus? How do I concentrate? Can you please give us some technique? Love is the secret of concentration. If I have love, then automatically my mind will focus. And the love is required for whatever support you may take. In this context, it is the support of Bhagwan. So devotion is important because the Lord is the highest. We may take support of the breath or the chakra or any other aspect like a mantra or anything. We may take support. But what is important is, do I have love for it? Or do I just think it's a mechanical support to quieten the mind with willpower? No, emotions are what need to be engaged. If emotion doesn't get engaged, wandering will happen because mind will go to what it loves. If it loves cake, pastry, some position, some power, some praise, some recognition, some person, it will go there. It will not stick to the practice. But if it loves this, then it will stick here, which is why the sadhana, earlier aspects of satsang, etc. are required to invoke that devotion in our heart. Mat chittaha and yukta asita mat paraha. Sit with that firm understanding that the Lord or the self is the supreme goal of life. Mat paraha, supreme goal. What we really value with our intellect, what we love with our heart, that is called integration. There the mind and intellect will abide. Otherwise, we intellectually know that, okay, goal of life is Brahman, but our heart says, I want the world. I want sense enjoyments. I want this pleasure, that power, that position. So there is not enough integration. So we have to bring love and respect together. Gurudev used to call it as reverence. Love plus respect is equal to reverence. Reverence has to be there for the Lord. So this is the preparation and posture. Then auto-suggestion. We suggest to our mind that for the next few minutes, I am going to be steady and still without any movements. The body must be still. No movements of the body. Otherwise, the mind wanders again. Then we say, I am alert, awake, and quiet. Because the mind doesn't know to be alert when it is quiet. The moment it becomes quiet, it goes to sleep. So we tell the mind, I am alert, awake, and quiet. And third auto suggestion is, I am a seeker for the next 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever time you choose to meditate for, contemplate for. I am a seeker. I have no other identities at this moment. So that every other role, when we leave out of our mind, the mind has much more space and we can go deep in our contemplation. Other thoughts and memories, we learn to drop for some time. 3 auto suggestions. Then present moment awareness. Be aware of what is happening all around us, so that from the past and the future we bring the mind into the present. Those are simple happenings around us. Some sound, some bird, some vehicle moving, or the AC, the chillness in the atmosphere. Just be aware of what is happening around. Some silence. And focus. Every moment is a new moment. What is happening moment by moment, that is called present moment awareness. Fourth step is relaxation of the body. Simple deep breath we take, and with every breath we take, we feel that our body is filled with energy and light. And as we exhale, we learn to let go of any stress and strain and consciously visualize different parts of the body and relax them. That is called Yoga Nidra also, or PMR, progressive muscle relaxation. So for example, we start from the toes, come up to the head. So first we visualize the toes and the ankles, left toe and the ankle, and let the mind's attention go there. take a deep breath, and as we exhale, we say relax. So not only at the body level the exhalation happens, mentally also let go of any stress or strain. This is a step that helps people in relaxing the body, reducing BP, cholesterol, all those things. Then fifth step is breath observation. Please watch, we are turning the attention from past and future to the present, from there to the body, now from the body to the breath. That is called sleeping in. So breath observation, we just observe the breathing. Simple, slow, steady and deep breathing, and just observe inhalation, exhalation, inhalation, exhalation. Many people apply this, especially when they don't want to use the form. It's all right. Concentration one can achieve through this. A certain level of detachment also can come through this. But ego surrender has to happen. That ego surrender can happen only when I have some understanding of what is the ultimate truth. Otherwise, I will be stuck. Beyond this, I can't go then. Only I can develop concentration. Purity and surrender will not come. So this breath observation, Ramana Maharshi also gives this in Upadesh Sar, Prana Vikshana it is called. Just observe the breathing. Many people think that it's a Buddhist practice. Buddhist practice, it is much later. Buddhism also came from Hinduism only, in the sense that Buddha was a Hindu prince earlier. In the Vedas, in the Upanishads, in the Gita, etc., we find this has come much before. Prana Vikshana, observation of the breath. So breath observation is the next step. Then in the space between the two eyebrows or in the heart, these are two focal points of contemplation, either here or here. If I am emotionally oriented person, heart. If I am a logical person, here. There is a broad categorization. One can choose whichever one likes. And pay attention to these parts. Any one. Visualize a circle of white light or blue light and invoke the form of the Lord that one reveres. Because the form of the Lord helps to internalize the values, the emotions, and it is the form which helps to convey to the subconscious mind the deeper suggestions. Because subconscious mind does not understand language much. It understands pictures and few words, but through pictures it will absorb a lot of messages, and that's why the form is so important. What nowadays people call subliminal messages. Subliminal messages happen through the form, through certain words that we chant, that is a mantra, and through certain auto suggestions that we take in. So if one doesn't want a form here, then sometimes one uses auto suggestion here, where one says, you know, I am wealthy, I am happy, I am loved, my life, everything is going on well, to reverse the opposite feelings that one has, that nobody loves me, my life is not in my control, you know, everything is going into sixes and sevens. So to reverse that feeling, one uses auto suggestion, because the point is very simple. In a quiet mind, whatever we send in will go deep and transform us. Here we are not only trying to quieten the mind and transform from within, we are trying to transcend the mind also. So till this step of invocation is where we learn to send deeper messages in. Puja Gurudev always used to say that Hindus are not idol worshippers, they are ideal worshippers. They worship the ideals behind the idol. So many great masters, even Advaitic masters like Adi Shankaracharya ji, worship the form of Lord Shiva. Ramakrishna worshipped Mother Kali. Narsimha Mehta worshipped Shri Krishna. Like that, there are different forms that have inspired, and these forms are not human created. Please, they are existing by themselves. That Shraddha one must have, and so many saints have experienced. And the Lord assures in the Gita that if you don't like any of these forms, you choose any form and I will increase your Shraddha in that form. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktah shraddhaya architumicchati tasya tasya chalam shraddham tameva vidadhamyaham. I will bless you with more and more Shraddha in whichever form you worship. See the flexibility of our culture. You can create your own form also if you like, customized form. Customization is there in our culture from such a long time. It's not something new. Standardization is what the world goes through, and this commercial aspects, etc. In that there has to be uniformity, standardization, and all that. It has its own place. Like if we say this process is a standardized process, but in this standardized process also there is customization available. So it's like that. So invocation is this. One can choose any form or one can choose any auto suggestions, whatever one likes. Then if I have chosen a form, I have to choose a mantra with that form. To repeat the mantra to make the mind single pointed. See, till now we have had many thoughts on different things, on the things around, then on the body, then on the breath, then on the form of the Lord. And we are visualizing from the head to the toes, or only the face, or just the smile. Depends on what we want to visualize. From many thoughts about many things to many thoughts about a specific area or a specific form to one thought about that form. Mantra is only one thought. So we say Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Mantra. Mind becomes single pointed. Then when that mind has done this japa, continuous repetition of one thought, that mind has become so single pointed. With that single pointed mind, we contemplate on what is our true nature. When we say Ram, who is Ram? Ram is Atma. When we say Sita ji, who is Sita ji? She is that Adi Parashakti, which is the power of Brahman. And both Ram ji and Sita ji are in us. Prakriti and Purusha, both are in us. And our nature is that Supreme Purusha, pure consciousness. So that contemplation one has to do. Vedika, you need to close. Don't keep putting on your video. This contemplation, when we keep doing, what we think about I, as Mr. So and so, the ego, that will disappear. Steady contemplation will make us realize that we are not this at all. We are that infinite consciousness we always were. So that steady contemplation we can do, and we can discover silence. In between, there is one more step. If required, one can use that, and that is the step of the witness, where one does not do anything, just observes whatever is the state of mind. If it is quiet, very good. If it is chanting mantra, very good. If it is contemplating, fine. If it is wandering, fine. But just watch. No addition to the thoughts, no rejection of the thoughts, no resistance of the thoughts. Just watch. That is why it is a 9th step. See, if we do 8 steps, we bring the mind into a certain level, then witnesshood can happen, where we learn to detach. If we try witnesshood right from the beginning, we may be deluding ourselves, and unconsciously we may be actually supporting the thought process. So that one should be very clear about. Silence actually is the state of realization. It's not a process, but in this context, it is a state of realization. So these are the 10 steps in contemplation. Remember these 10 steps. If you require, just take a screenshot. And remember these 10. And today's our session will be based on these 10. And it is on Siyaramji. So we will have the form of Siyaramji which we will use to contemplate and internalize these ideas. Who are Siyaramji? They are the Supreme Lord and the power of the Lord, absolute Brahman, and the power of Brahman, which is Maya Shakti. In this Navratri, 9 days, we worship Mother Durga, and then also we worship the Supreme Lord on the Navratri day, on the Ram Navami day. So, this is one symbolic aspect. Actually, not symbolic, it is a fact, and that Purusha is our true nature. Body, mind, etc. are the expression of Prakriti, and that is enlivened by Purusha. So each one of us is a combination of Purusha and Prakriti, but today we have forgotten the nature as Purusha, we have forgotten the nature as Prakriti of the Lord. We think that I am this by myself. His body, mind, intellect is me. That is false identification. That we have to drop. So that is one aspect. Siyaramji also mean Bhagwan is of the nature of Jnana and Sitaji is of the nature of Bhakti. We need both in our life. Bhagwan is the nature of Anand and Sitaji is the nature of Shanti. We need both in our life. Bhagwan is Supreme Lord, Sitaji is Bhakti, and we are the Bhakta. So in our heart, we must have Bhagwan and Bhakti both. So these are different aspects of Sitaram Ji, and we will meditate, contemplate on these aspects, internalize these values. I'm going to share one form, and that is a form that you can keep in mind as we do the practice. So this is the form of Sitaramji. All of us can sit erect. Close your eyes gently. Relax your shoulders. Let your hands be in your lap or on your thighs or the knees, palms facing the sky. Come to a comfortable posture without any strain in any part of the body. If you are sitting on a chair, let your feet be firmly placed on the ground. Ensure that your head, neck, and the spine are in a straight line. Let the mind be relatively quiet. Let go of any stress or strain, any anxieties or worries. Know that these are the most blessed moments of our life. Through the grace of the Lord, we get satsang, and through the grace of the Lord, we are also able to contemplate. We have a human body, that also is the grace of the Lord. So feel that sense of gratitude that there is so much of blessing in our life, and thank the Lord for all the blessings we have in our life. As well as all the challenges that we face. The challenges only make us stronger. Blessings make us happy. So let go of any fear, insecurity, and feel that the grace of the Lord pervades your entire being, your life. Invoke devotion in your heart for the Supreme Lord. Each of us are children of the Supreme God. And just like children have natural love for parents, there is love in our heart for our Creator. Feel that Siya Ramji are our parents. We are like children in front of them, and they love us much more than the earthly parents, because life after life, Siya Ramji are with us. Taking care of us, protecting us, helping us to grow, providing us the right environment. And until we don't realize our oneness with Siya Ramji, we will continue to take birth after birth. So know that they are the supreme goal of our life and evolution. Intellectually tell yourself that all actions and everything that we do is to realize the state of Siya Ramji. There is no greater goal than self-realization or God realization. Pray to the Lord that we intensely seek this state, and may Siya Ramji help us to discover our oneness. This is the first step, preparation and posture. Based on the shlok of the Gita, Prashantatma Vigata Bhihi ब्रह्मचारी व्रते स्थितः मनः संयम्य मच्चित्तः युक्त आसीत मत्परः. Second step, auto suggestion. With all your willpower, suggest to the mind that for the next 40 minutes, I am steady and still without any movements. For the next 40 minutes, I am steady and still without any movements. Except breathing, no other movements. A still body is very important for a still mind. Second auto suggestion, I am alert, awake, and quiet. I am alert, awake, and quiet. As you say this, visualize that you are alert through the entire session as well as you are quiet. Third auto suggestion, for the next 40 minutes, I am only a spiritual seeker or a devotee of the Lord. I do not have any other identities. For the next 40 minutes, I am only a spiritual seeker or devotee of God. I have no other identities. As though you and God are in a bubble and nothing from outside can invade your space. Third step, present moment awareness. Be aware of the simple happenings around you. Without spending any more thoughts or judgment on it. If you hear a bird chirping, don't try to find out which bird it is. What does it want? Just hear the sound. Every moment, whatever is happening around, just be aware. Fourth step, relaxation of the body. We will consciously relax the entire body from the toes to the head. As I say the part, visualize that part by paying attention to it. Take a deep breath after that. And as I say relax, exhale slowly, letting go of any stress or strain. From both the body and the mind, learn to drop any strain. Relax the left toe, the ankle, and the calf muscle. Take a deep breath. Relax. Once again, take a deep breath. Relax. Slow, steady, and deep breathing without any jerks. And slow, steady, and complete exhalation without any jerks. Relax the left knee, the left thigh, and the left hip. Inhale. Relax. Inhale. Relax. Relax the right toe, the right ankle, and the right calf muscle. Inhale. Relax. Inhale. Relax. Relax the right thigh, the right knee, and the right hip. Inhale. Relax. Inhale. Relax. We have relaxed the lower part of the body. You may feel the difference between the upper and the lower part. One has been relaxed consciously, the other has not been relaxed consciously. You may feel heaviness in some part of the body, which is relaxed, or some numbness, or there is no sensation at all. All these are signs of relaxation. Relax the upper half of the body. Visualize the trunk. All the important organs are in the trunk. The heart, the lungs, stomach, kidneys, intestines, reproductive and evacuative organs. So visualize the trunk of the body. As you take a deep breath, feel that the entire trunk of the body is flooded with light and energy. Inhale. Relax. Inhale. Relax. The slower your exhalation, the better is your relaxation. Relax the right hand from the shoulders to the fingers. Feel the entire right hand. Inhale. Relax. Inhale. Relax. Relax the left hand from the shoulder to the fingers. Inhale. Relax. Inhale. Relax. Relax your entire back from the neck to the base of the spine. feel your entire back. If you are not in an erect position, come back to the erect position. Inhale. Relax. Inhale. Relax. Relax the face and the head, the front part of your neck, the face, the top and the back portion of the head, and the back portion of the neck. Inhale. Relax. Inhale. Relax. Continue to breathe slow, steady, and deep. We have relaxed each and every part of the body. The fifth step is just breath observation. Observe each and every inhalation and exhalation. Breathe consciously. We have relaxed the body. We have observed the breath, which means both the body and the breath is not me. It is only a tool that I have. I am completely different from them. Because I can observe them, the observer is different from the observed. The sixth step is invocation. In the space between the two eyebrows or in your heart, Visualize a circle of white light in the space between the two eyebrows or in your heart. Visualize a circle of white light. Feel that the sky is blue with a few white clouds in it. Visualize this in the circle of white light. Feel that there is an ocean which appears to be blue with some waves in the ocean. There is a light brown sand on the banks of the ocean, on the shores. There is a beautiful golden throne on the shores of the ocean. This is the ocean of samsara, and the goal of life are Siya Ramji, who are on the shores of this ocean, seated on a beautiful golden throne, with a beautiful umbrella above their heads. There are 4 lamps that are hanging, and all these lamps are lit. Bhagwan Ram, with his bow and arrows, is seated, looking at us gracefully with a lot of love, with his lotus-like eyes, a gentle smile. In one hand, the Lord has a bow in the left hand. With one hand, he grants us fearlessness and protection. He has a golden crown, beautiful ornaments on his chest. There is a quiver tied across his shoulders with some arrows. Bhagwan has yellow pitambar. That he has worn on his waist. His one foot is resting on his thigh. The right foot is resting on the left thigh. And the left foot is down on a pedestal. There's a beautiful garland across his neck. He has long black hair. This image of the Lord, who is like the rain-bearing cloud, Shyam Rang, like the blue lotus. On his left side is Mother Sita with a golden crown, beautiful earrings. There is a lovely nose ring. There is a bindi on her forehead. Her eyes are full of love and peace. A very radiant countenance around her. She wears a red sari with a garland. There are various ornaments. She also sits in the same posture as Bhagwan Ram and grants peace and happiness to all of us. Keep this form in the mind as we invoke both of them. Repeat this shloka in your mind. Neelambujasyamalako Sita Samaropitavamabhagam Panao Mahasayakacharuchapam Namami Ramam Raghuvamshanatham. Udbhavasthiti-samhara Kariణीं क्लेशहारिणीं सर्वश्रेयस्करीं सीताम् नतोऽहं रामवल्लभाम्. Feel that you are in front of both of them. Prostrate to both of them. Touch the feet of both of them. The seventh step is to chant the mantra. As we chant the mantra of Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, we should remember that Shri means Sita Ji. She is the symbol of peace, supreme power, and devotion. And Bhagwan Ram is the symbol of happiness, supreme truth, and knowledge. May we internalize these qualities in us. May we inculcate and imbibe these qualities. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. 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 Shri Ram. Jai Ram. 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 Jai Jai Ram. Continue mentally. Eighth step is contemplation. This peace and happiness that we feel are Siya Ramji. We are one with Siya Ramji. Body, mind, intellect is not our nature. Siya Ram is our nature. Peace and happiness is our nature. Knowledge and devotion is our nature. Supreme Brahman and its power of Maya is our nature. The body is perishable. It is Mara. The world outside also is perishable. It is Maya. But Bhagavan is Ram, pure consciousness. He is imperishable, unborn, unchanging. He is the Mayapati, Supreme Ishvara, and we are one with the Lord. With the grace of Siya Ramji, may we experience this oneness. Visualize that you are offering some flowers at the feet of the Lord and Sita Ji. Perform a pradakshina around the Lord and Sita Ji. Come to prostrate in front of Bhagwan and Sita Ji. Feel that both their hands are on your head. With their grace and blessings, feel that your whole life is blessed. May they give us enough strength to face all challenges in life. May we have love in our hearts and we love everyone around us. And may we have the ability to serve people and the beings, uncompromising in our duties, as Siya Ramji did. And may we have the brilliance of knowledge to recognize that we are one with Siya Ramji. Be aware of your breath. Be aware of your body. Be aware of the happenings around you. Just like we withdrew from the world around to within, we are coming back from within to the world around. Let us pray for the well-being of everyone, so that may everyone be happy, may everyone be healthy, may the sufferings of the beings end. May we experience auspiciousness and bliss. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। Rub your palms, place them on the face and gently open the eyes. So I hope you had a good session of contemplation. We will end with a few announcements. Today evening, we have a very inspiring session. Before that, yes, there is a guided meditation course that is available on Chinmay Shivam YouTube channel. You can go to the channel. A lot of my videos are there, and there you can type in the search bar guided meditation. You will get the course. It's a 10-session course. Each session has first part as the theory and second part as the guided session. Like you see here, talk 1, meditation, what it is not and what it is meditation, and then 1.1 is guided meditation, intro and relaxation. So like that, every session has 2 parts. So if you like, you can do this course, and please subscribe to that channel. Next. Today evening, we have a very important session on Sri Ram Mandir, the archaeological perspective. Shri K.K. Mohammed ji, who was heading the archaeology team from the ASI, and they have done the findings and whether the temple existed before. So those details he will share, and a very important presentation he is going to make. So please do join the evening session. Tomorrow morning we have Ram Navami. So we will have the satsang on Bhagwan Ram and the Ram Janma Utsav and puja of Bhagwan Ram with 108 names, chanting, etc. So do join us in the morning for the celebration of Ram Navami. And evening we have Puja Gurudev's talk on the Vedantic symbolism of Ramayana. So those are programs for tomorrow. I'm happy to tell you that many of you have started doing more japa online, typed japa. So we have come almost to the halfway mark. So around 4,15,000 or 4,20,000 japa we have done of Ram Nam. Our target is to reach 9 lakhs by tomorrow. So let's see how much we are able to do. If each of us puts in and spreads more word about it, I'm sure we can reach by tomorrow evening 9 lakhs should be possible. So do join us. The link has been given today and tomorrow. Go and type Ram, 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 Ram. Express your gratitude to the Lord. Finally, yes, this is whole program also in support of the Ram Mandir. So you are welcome to donate whatever you can for this auspicious temple that is coming up. Thank you very much. We will meet in the evening. So one more announcement is that there is going to be a retelecast of Upanishad Ganga, a serial that Chinmay Mission had made a few years ago, which was telecasted many times on Doordarshan. Last year during COVID lockdown also it was done. Again, we are in a difficult situation right now. So Upanishad Ganga would be retelecasted from 14th April. It is already started. Monday to Friday, 9:30 p.m. It is going on. It is in Hindi. The whole serial is in Hindi. So you can watch it on DD National. There is some repeat time also that is given. Monday to Friday, 9:30 p.m. IST, and then again repeat Tuesday to Saturday, 9:30 a.m. So either of these time slots you can watch again. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.